Hey guys, Tisha here, and we're back with another Sister Wives review. If I told you how many times I did this intro, you would not believe me. I've been tongue-tied beyond belief, so I'm apologizing in advance for my stumbling because the way that I just struggled to do 18 seconds of footage is ridiculous. So we start this episode with the bird letting us know that the wives are so far apart that they've all been leading different lives from each other. You heard correctly, the bird said it. Now, since leaving Utah, even though the furthest distance that anyone is that we've been told on multiple occasions is Mary, and that is a mile, all of these wives are leading separate lives. Janelle says that now that everyone is apart, that not only are they thinking more like single moms, but they're operating more like single moms. They all heavily agree, though, that they want to be back together. Mary says that one of the things that concerns her is that once they move into this cul-de-sac, that there will be some privacy issues and it will be hard. I don't understand how privacy is a hard thing when you would all have your own individual households. It wouldn't be like it was when they were in Lehigh, where they had several different entries, but they could hear what was going on in each other's apartment areas within the house. This would actually be 4 separate buildings that aren't attached. So did you all not put enough insulation? Did you not use the right windows? Like, what is it that you did to your home that you would be so worried about privacy, unless you were heavily monitoring what Kody's doing? You see what I'm saying about how I've been tongue-tied and combining words? I just combine 2 words and try to make up my own thing. I feel like one of the reasons why this became such an issue in Mary's eyes about privacy was because she knew that she would be seeing Kody running over to the bird's house often. These ladies really had a lot of underlying issues with Kody. And I just can't get over that statement about the privacy thing when we knew they would be in their own homes. We see Janelle up early and she's going to work out with her new trainer. At this point, she's lost 25 pounds in 90 days. And she talks about how great it's been and how much she looks forward to continuing. We then have the Sister Wives Closet, and we find out the business is not doing that well. They made a $500 profit, which was for 2 days when they went to that expo. Janelle points out that that is not really profitable enough, that she could not even manage to pay her mortgage on that. And that's true. It's not a lie. She said it's not a viable business in her eyes. And as she's saying it, Kody's like, but we just started it. I want to know at this point how long it's been, because between what they sold online and what they did at the expo, we know that they haven't even sold 50 items total since the business started. So what's going on? As I said before, for them to gain national attention from this show, for them to have the exposure that they had in free marketing, I don't understand why they have not been able to sell this product. Tulips and Cats pointed out that one of the good things for them would have been to maybe for them to lower their prices and consider their clientele more in regards to the expo. And I believe that they are right, because why would you have such high-dollared pieces if you knew your demographic? It doesn't make sense. Robin says to Janelle that you're saying that it's not viable, but I don't feel like you're invested and I don't feel like you're doing anything for it. Janelle says that she has no desire to sell or design jewelry. Robin's like, okay, so that's why I've been begging you to do this plus size clothing line, because it's your niche and you want these pieces. I know you do. 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 I know you do just want to know why, if she feels like clothing line is Janelle's niche, which I don't understand how it's Janelle's niche, because Janelle doesn't dress like anything spectacular, but we're going to go with it. If she feels like a clothing line that's plus size is Janelle's niche, why is it that it just has to be plus size? Why couldn't it have been a clothing line? Or why couldn't she say that the athletic wear is your niche? She just, I didn't like it. I felt like she was trying to be funny even when she said that. Because how is it that Robin is supposed to know what Janelle's niche is when we hear from Janelle in season 18 that her and Robin didn't even have a rapport really with one another, that they just, were cordial and spoke for family events and stuff like that. If you barely spoke to Janelle, how do you know what her niche is? I really wish that the witch, that's Robin, that's the bird, as someone said earlier, I wish I wrote it down, the dirty bird, stop trying to manipulate her, because she's not Kody, where she'll fall for this, and she's not Super Save-A-Ho Mary. Janelle shakes her head while Kody is looking appalled at the fact that Janelle doesn't have interest in this. And she says, I don't know why, but to me, it just feels like a hobby business. My thing is, if Janelle doesn't want to do it, then stop trying to make her do it. Robin, Mary, and Kody decided that they didn't want to deal with real estate. And then at some point, we know that Christine's not going to be doing it either. So why not just allow Janelle to do what it is that she wants to do, rather than feel like she's being pulled into this business that she doesn't seem like she has a desire to be a part of. Kody then says that every time he sells jewelry, he gets awkward because he doesn't feel like it's something that he should be doing. And he kind of feels like he is viewed as somebody who's trying to pull in other people. He gets awkward, and as he's talking about it, Robin kind of scolds him and says, I'm not asking you to sell jewelry, Kody. One thing I noticed is when Robin says something, he immediately adjusts himself, versus some of the other wives, when they say things, he does not. So when she says this, he, because he doesn't like to piss off the bird, looks down at his computer like a little boy who just got in trouble. The camera zoomed into him, and he hurried up and corrected it and said, what do you need me to do? And the bird says, I just need your support. Well, how the hell is he supposed to do that? What way can he support her? Because Robin really didn't answer that question. We already knew that you needed his support because you let it be known that you wanted everybody's support. But you didn't specify in what ways, other than the fact that you wanted to put more time and money into the business from the other people. Kody makes an excuse, like I said, about how he doesn't want people to feel like he's hunting for a fifth wife. I don't think people would have thought that, but I do think people would have been weirded out by Kody, because Kody just appears to be very socially awkward, in my opinion. Janelle points out that at this point, she's losing sleep over trying to figure out how they're going to be able to afford these 4 mortgages. And Whiny Bird lets it be known while Janelle's talking, trying to explain herself, that she's losing sleep too. Kody then jumps in again and says that we're not about to quit the business. We can't quit the business. She doesn't want them to quit the business. Janelle at this point is just not sure if she wants to be a part of the business. Whiny Bird says that she's tired of feeling like she's begging people to be involved when they don't want to be. Then as she's saying this, Save-A-Ho Mary comes in and says, you know I'm committed and I'm here. I really want to know where Mary's commitment, where her being there for Robin got her, besides divorce papers. Christine then says, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't see me being a part of it either. I really want to get my real estate gig going, and this is taking time from that. We then see Christine go over to Janelle's house so they can work on some real estate things because they're supposed to be meeting up with Mona, and there's certain things that they're supposed to have prepared. As they're preparing, Gabe, Peyton, and Garrison decide that they're going to fight each other. Well, really, it wasn't Peyton. Peyton and Isabel, I think, had just came over, but it was really Gabe and Garrison that decided that they were going to fight each other. You hear all this commotion going on, and you hear this yelling, and you hear the closing of doors and all these other things. And while all this is going on, even though Kody knows that the ladies are in there preparing, Kody says nothing. He then hears Janelle coming, and he says, oops. We find out that Garrison turned off Gabe's game while he was playing, and it caused an argument. Janelle then comes in, fusses at Garrison, takes his tablet or whatever, and tells him he's not going to be playing this for a couple of days. As she walks out, she hadn't even closed the door, and we see Garrison kick Gabe. It looked like in his leg or something like that. So she doesn't know what exactly happened, but she knows something happens because she hears the commotion behind her. And rather than separating the boys immediately from being in the same room, she yells down at Kody that he better come up and handle this. See, this is a prime example to me of how Janelle struggled with disciplining her children. And you all can correct me in the comments if you think that I'm wrong or if you have a different opinion. But I feel like one of the reasons why Janelle didn't have control over them wasn't just because Kody wasn't being seen every day, but it was because Janelle very much so was absent from most of the discipline when it came to her kids. She was work, 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 work. Remember, that's what she took her pride in. And I believe that Christine was more of a parent at times to her children than she was. There are too many times where I've seen some type of argument. Gabe and Garrison again, when they got to fighting in the van, and he kicked him, and then it turned into a punch of the nose and blood gushing out, and how nonchalant she was about the situation. And then you telling them to hug one another where the discipline isn't really happening. She has no control of what's going on around her. He, as a response to everything that's going on, says, do you want me to just take Christine's kids home? Even though Christine's kids had nothing to do with the situation at the time. It was Janelle's kids. So I'm going to just take these kids home that have nothing to do with it rather than dealing with the issue. Okay, Kody, that's right. Janelle talks about how since separating, she doesn't really have control over her teenage boys and the hormones, and now they're acting out with their father not being there. I'm not saying that that wasn't an issue, but they were clearly acting out when their father was right there in the home downstairs. Maybe he just wasn't there at all because that would have been a great time for him to interact with his children. And what I mean by that is, you're in the house, right? You know that you only see your children for X amount of hours. If we're being told by Janelle later on that Kody wouldn't come over to the house till 7 o'clock, then let's say that most of the children are in bed by around 9, 10 o'clock. Right? That means you really only have 2 to 3 hours of interaction with your children, and rather than doing it upstairs with them or having them come down and hang out with you in the living room, they're in their room where you're not involved with them. So was he really spending quality time with them in that moment, or was he just on his computer downstairs away from the kids? She said that she's missed having them there because in the past he's always been there, even though they were in different units, we'll say, in the house in Lehigh. It took nothing for him to come into her place and to deal with the kids. He then talks about how part of the problem with the discipline thing is that he doesn't want to come down on them too hard because he knows that he's not going to see them for another 3 days. And as a result, he tends to try to back off a little bit and not be as harsh or as strict when it comes to their discipline. And as he's saying this, I'm like, what the hell were these people on? If you're a child and you know that you can get away with something, hell, if you're an adult and you know that you can get away with something, as we've seen with these adults, most of the time what happens is you keep doing it or you get worse. So these children learned very early on that their father was only going to come down so hard on them because he wasn't really seeing them. Excuse me. We then see Christine and Janelle meeting with Mona. She says, this is Mona, in the past 6 weeks that she has had no days off. And immediately this makes Christine shut down. Janelle says it's not a problem for her. She can do it. She has much more free time than Christine does. Whereas Christine is like, I can't handle that. I can't miss that amount of time with my children. Now, one of the things that I've heard about real estate, because I'm not in real estate, but I do have friends that have made a substantial living in real estate, some of which that's all they do, some of which who do financial planning for the bank as well as real estate on the side. And one of the things that they've told me is that a real estate schedule is and or can be as flexible as you want it to be. So yes, there will be instances where you're going to have to put in a lot of work, especially if you have more demanding clientele or you have more of a deadline to make. But for the most part, there are times when you can kind of make your own schedule. With that being said, I don't understand why when Christine was considering this to be a business move, that she didn't find out all of this information before she even bothered taking the real estate test. You see, someone like me would have asked that before I even considered doing the job. Y'all exclude the fireworks, because apparently people want to do fireworks on the 6th of November like it's 4th of July. I don't know. I don't know why she didn't find out how much time had to be put in it before she decided to do it. Mona let them know that Christine and Janelle's house might not be ready in time for Christmas, and Christine gets visibly upset. We find out that part of the reason why it may not be ready is because the Browns keep coming on site to the different properties, and they're altering things and changing up stuff that was not originally on the builder's list. So they're making suggestions and changing things, and as a result, it's basically holding the builders back. We also find out that Mary, Kody, and Robin have not turned in their paperwork. So because they haven't turned in their paperwork, that shows that they've cleaned up their credit and done the things that they needed to do, that there can be a delay with their houses, with their loan. That the homes could be complete, but they can't get in them because the paperwork isn't ready. Janelle says that they need to figure out something because they need to be in one of those homes. And Christine says that she doesn't care about one of the homes. She needs them to be in all of the homes. We then see Christine at home with Kody. And I got a little annoyed by this scene because this further shows the differences, the way that Kody reacts to Christine versus, or even Mary versus Robin. So Christine is on the bed with him, and she's letting him know that there will be as many as 6 weeks at times where she is not able to be off from work, and she cannot do that. So Christine basically wasted double the time because we know that it took her a little bit longer to pass the test. And she's been helping with the birds business, even though she was doing her supposed real estate stuff. She takes the exam, finally passes it, just to decide not to do real estate. So of course, you know, Kody is going to have an attitude with all of that. So he says, you don't have a situation where another mom is going to take your children. So yeah, you have to be at home. So you mean to tell me that Christine sacrificed by being there at home, a teacher, a nanny, and then once her kids went to sleep, a worker, and no one can make a sacrifice for her to watch her children while she does her real estate? Isn't this supposed to be a family? Isn't that what we've been told in multiple episodes? That one of the good things about having all these sister wives, Mary's words, is that you don't need nannies because you have each other. So not only does Robin have a whole nanny with no job, but certain stipulations couldn't be made for Christine so that Christine would be able to work as well as maintain her household. Kody was a jerk. They then get into an argument because as she's trying to explain how frustrated she is, he's just telling her that she's creating drama. Once again, not validating her feelings. He says, if you have to go to work, go ahead. He then blames Vegas for all of this. Christine says at this point, she wants to be a mom more than do real estate. And we all know that Christine has always put the kids and the family first, despite what the bird and Kody, Ramen Head tries to make us think. We're now at the bird's house, and they're being really quiet because Solomon is a light sleeper. For all you new parents or soon-to-be parents out there, if you're watching, the dumbest thing you can ever do is to make your home extra quiet when your children are sleeping. You need to act as how you normally would act, because what happens later on is you will regret that you were extra quiet because your children can't sleep soundly in whatever atmosphere they're in. That was the best advice that my mother ever gave me, was don't creep. She's like, don't blast music, but don't be on silent mode either, because what happens is your child will get used to it. So the bird wants everybody to be quiet while the King Solomon sleeps. We find out that Mona is on her way, that she'll be over there a little bit later, and that she's also going to be going out on a date tonight with Kody. So she's really excited. As she's talking, her kids are doing what they always do, where they're not listening and they're making a whole bunch of noise, even going as far as Aurora playing on the piano. These kids have been bad from day one. From the first day that we saw them, when Kody went to see her, they were bad. On her wedding day, they were bad. Her going to the car, they locked her out. Robin's kids were bad. Robin says that despite everyone else struggling, that, you know, she's having a really good year, and it's the best it's been in a long time for her kids. Robin says that despite everyone else struggling, this is the best it's been for her and her kids. I said it again because all this trauma that Robin now talks about, how hard it's been over the years for her kids, how much they weren't accepted. Here we have Robin in season 6 saying this is the best it's been for her kids. And we know it's the best because Robin was living in poverty. This is the girl who told us that she was in a trailer that didn't have heat. So this was most definitely a come up for her. See, Robin's not getting the anxiety-ridden jerk of a husband that Christine is getting, because he tried to blame some of his reaction to her when she was saying that she wasn't going to do the real estate thing on his anxiety. Robin gets the nice version. She gets the honeymoon version of him, where they've only been married for a couple of years. They talk about how if they get these houses that they'll be able to be more activated into their culture because they'll be right next to each other. Mona comes and tells Mary, Robin, and Kody that they need to get it together. I don't understand why she has to say this. If we've been told how much y'all want to be in these houses and how important it is and how y'all have been working so hard, then hurry up and do the work that you know needs to be done. Prayer alone isn't going to do it. Let's get to it. She also gets on them for going in and out of the homes without her, because she told them on multiple occasions that they need to let her know, one, where they plan on going on site, and two, to not relay anything to the person who is over the 4 homes. We find out that Kody, Robin, and Mary have been out there. Mary has been the worst of them all. Mary has been there at least 10 times. And we know that Mary is very controlling about certain things. So I can only imagine what types of things she had them doing while she was on site. I don't want Mona to warn them anymore. I want Mona to allow them to see what happens when they don't listen. Because if they are so ready to get in these homes, you think that they would be crossing all the T's and dotting each I, that they wouldn't be the people that they are. But I've learned over the years that a lot of the Browns are extremely entitled. So basically, Janelle and Christine are ready. Their paperwork is together, but their homes aren't ready. And Robin, Kody, and Mary, the dynamic trio that they are, the 3 Musketeers, the 3 Milky Way, don't have their stuff together. We then go back to Janelle, and she's meeting up with Robin to say that she wasn't engaging in the business, but she knows that they really want these 3 homes, and she's gonna try to help Robin more, and she's decided to pursue the clothing line. Now, when the bird hears this, she gets so excited that she's about to swoop and fly away. This is exactly what she wanted. She asks how she can go about getting Kody involved, because you know Robin is always trying to get everybody on her team. Janelle says she doesn't feel like Kody needs to be involved, not with the day-to-day. If they want to include him in on meetings, that's fine, but he doesn't need to be as heavily involved. And she said, you just have to allow Christine to be a part of the fun stuff and to maneuver the way that she wants to move. As she's talking to her, I'm saying, Janelle, don't trust that hoe. Don't trust her, because you falling right in the trap. Robin says that since Solomon has been born, that her and Kody have not been able to be on a date with just the 2 of them, and that she's looking forward to it just being the 2 of them. What's the point of the nanny then? You can't get the nanny to watch him, because you can get the other kids to watch each other. So why can't you get the nanny to watch them? Isn't that the point of the nanny? We see that they go to Propel. Kody feels the need to once again mention that he has a lot of wives and a lot of kids. Anything to make him feel like the man. I don't understand why the hell him and Robin felt the need to tell this man about the inner workings of their marriage and polygamy and all these other things when he's just there to help y'all propel. They sound crazy. So you're talking about being a sister wife with people who are buying jewelry. You don't feel comfortable. You feel uncomfortable. So you say, according to Kody, according to Robin, according to all of them, they all feel uncomfortable with disclosing that, you know, sometimes that they're in a polygamous relationship. But we see on so many occasions, especially with him and Robin, when him and Robin are together, and Kody, when he's with any of his wives, really, he always feels the need to let them know he's a polygamist. Even though if it has nothing to do with what's going on, he has to tell them. It's all about his ego, and he shows more and more that it's about his ego. They're on their date, they have a good time, and we see a very affectionate side of Kody on his date, because whenever he's with Robin, he's very, very touchy-feely, very affectionate, because unlike the other ones, he actually loves her and her diesel jeans. If you don't know about that comment, go watch my Say What regarding Kody, part 2. It's the next day, and we see Mary waking up Leon at 4 something in the morning so they can run. Leon likes to run, so Mary goes with them. We know that Leon goes to an LDS seminar class at 6 in the morning, so they have to do this run very early as a result. They talk a lot about Leon wanting to be a sister wife, but given the way that Leon now identifies, I'm not going to talk about that. Leon is driving Robin's old beige van that does not have AC, and the doors don't work properly, and something about the windows, and they're mad because they thought they could take Mary's car. So Robin came into the family. She kept talking about that van and how great that van was, and the van didn't have AC or properly working windows and doors. You see how much she came up? Mary says that she forgot she had to do some things, and as a result, she's sorry, Leon, but you got to take that. And Leon acts like the brat that sometimes Leon acts like. Mary says that Leon doesn't roll well with things, just like Mary. I don't know if that's a good thing. I think that later came to bite Mary in the ass, because there were times where Leon was extremely disrespectful to Mary and got involved with things that they didn't need to get involved in. We see the adults and Leon, because as I said earlier, Leon gets involved in a lot of things that Leon don't need to be involved in, meeting at the houses. I did not see any other teens there, but Leon was there. They're walking through to see how everything looks with the walls and everything up. Janelle is saying that she's now glad that she listened to Kody and she created an extra room for Logan, because he actually does want to come home sometimes. The team says that they'll be sad if they're not in the houses by Christmas, but they understand that life happens. Robin walks in her house, and immediately the tears start to flow. I will say I did like how dark Robin's cabinets were. The houses that they created in Vegas, to me, look way better than the ones that they got in Flagstaff or rented in Flagstaff. I'm just like, certain aspects of it, we'll say, because not all of it. Like the tile floor for the dining room, Christine, who does that? It's maybe with the exception of Robin, because Robin's house, even though it's so big, it's real dated to me. Like, it's real brown. Everybody has different tastes. I'm one of those people who like more vibrant colors, even though you see me in black a lot. When it comes to my home, I like colors. They talk about how last year, this is the kids last year at home, for some of them, especially with like Leon. So we see Leon and Mary doing some Christmas shopping, and I'm confused as to why Mary is doing all this shopping when they're supposed to be being careful with their finances. One of the things that I learned when I was considering purchasing a home, and I went to a few home buyers classes, is that one of the things they do is when it's time for you to secure that loan, they question everything. Like, everything that you're spending. And Mary is here charging up stuff left and right when she already has multiple Christmas decorations, and she doesn't know whether she's going to be in her home or not. You setting up all these Christmas decorations in your house now that you may end up having to go set up at your new home. So it really doesn't make sense. It's like you're doing double work, but Mary likes to do that, so whatever. We then hear again about the baby that I don't think Mary wants, but I understand it's a lot deeper than we even get with the whole spiritual babies talk and all of that. Thank you, Tulips and Cats, for reminding me of that. Leon talks about how they've been praying for their mother to have a baby since they were little and how they've never been given an answer. Kody walks in their home and sees the Christmas stuff everywhere. We hear about how they were struggling a lot before they had their own space. So apparently Mary and Kody were struggling so much that when they first went to Vegas, and even though we keep hearing about how bad it's been with everybody being separate, that it benefited their marriage for them to be separate. Because Mary says she was finally given one-on-one time that she hadn't been given before. And I know part of that is because Kody runs away from problems. And if they were having issues and they were in that house, I'm sure once they got to disagreeing that he probably went into another wife's space, because we've seen him run on multiple occasions as is. You were struggling so much, but you thought Robin was going to help, when all Robin did was bring you all further apart. Mary was dumb. We hear at the end that the 4 homes will be like heaven to them. We know that they're eventually going to get into these 4 homes. Spoiler alert, because we've seen the show. But it's interesting how we went from this to what we see now. You guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Please like the video and subscribe. Trying to work my way into that algorithm. Until next time, y'all, got it in my hand. Let's see.